Hello there, this is Cindy at cindybdesigns.com, and that is the beautiful card that we'll be making today. We're going to be starting off with the Colorful Seasons bundle and the Tuscan Vineyard. I'm only going to be using two colors of ink today, and that's going to be Old Olive with Soft Suede. I have your basic A2 size standard top folding card in the landscape mode, trying on some fun foam. I have a piece of old olive cardstock cut down, and everything, the measurements is going to be at cindybdesigns.com and underneath this video. Just trying on for size some ribbon and trying to put my sketch together. I now have a piece of very vanilla cardstock that's been cut down to 5¼ by 4, and I'm going to be stamping my images on it from Tuscan Vineyard. You just saw me take out the foam mat to my Misty. In the Tuscan Vineyard stamp set, it is clear amount, which means that there is foam behind it, as you can see right there. And that's the image that I'm going to be using. I'm going to ink that up with some soft suede ink. My cardstock base is Early Espresso. I decided to go a couple colors lighter on the ink. I felt that the Early Espresso was just a little bit too dark. With the images that you see me stamp, I will be double stamping all of them just to get that beautiful, crisp image and color that I like. And there we go. You can tell the difference between the first impression and the second one. I'm going to go ahead and slip back in the mat to my Misty, since my sentiment's going to be coming from the Colorful Seasons stamp set, and that is going to read Just Breathe. That will be stamped on the outside with Old Olive ink by Stampin' Up. And this is a 100% Stampin' Up card, with the exception of the fun foam, the brown fun foam that I'm using in between my layers. When you see me do that, since the photopolymer stamps are new, when you pick them up with the lid of the Misty, kind of has a tendency to pull your cardstock up as well. So I just use my bone folder or something to kind of pull that lid up a little bit, and it left a little mark in my card. You can't see it, but just be careful about that. So I set the outside panel aside to dry. I'm going to be working on the inside now. Once again, I'm going back to the Tuscan Vineyard stamp set. I went ahead and I think I left the foam in. I'm not quite sure. No, I took it out. There is a part later on the video where I did leave it in when I did the envelope, and you can see what it will do if you don't take that foam out. It's really necessary anytime that you use any type of stamp that does have a rubber backing to it. You don't need the foam. And look real close when I pull that lid up. That image is so gorgeous. Very dense, but yet very beautiful as well. So once again, I'm putting back in my little foam pad there, and I will grab another sentiment from Colorful Seasons. Life is a Beautiful Thing. That will also be stamped in Old Olive ink as well. That's going to go at the top left corner. I still have plenty of room to write what I wish to on the inside. So I'm just setting everything up here and inking it up. And once again, that will be done twice as well. I get beautiful impressions when I stamp twice. The only reason why I am this time around, honestly, is I'm using brand new stamp sets with the clear amount, with the images. It doesn't really matter if you stamp twice or not, but again, I do like those crisp images, which is why I choose to do it twice. That is my envelope there. It's basic, very vanilla, medium sized. This is where I don't take out the pad. And I'm just going to doll up the envelope on the outside, and you're going to see on the right why I should have taken it out. That was easy enough to remove with an eraser or craft blade. Then there was this little cork in the Tuscan Vineyard, and I thought that that would be a really fun image to use over on the left side, and this time I took the pad out because I learned my lesson. That would be used over on the left-hand side of the card, because the cork part where you unscrew the cork to a bottle of wine is facing to where you would write the recipient's address. And I just thought that was a little bit something different and fun. Once again, that's going to be inked up twice and stamped twice. And a couple of the double stampings I go ahead and leave in. Other than that, I just take it out. So now I've pulled back in my early espresso card base, and I'm marking an X on the front. I have a really bad habit of putting my card panels on upside down, and that just kind of let me know that, all right, my crease is up at the top. And I always can't stress enough, wash your hands all the time. It does end up on your cardstock. At least with me it does. So I'm grabbing some snail adhesive now. I'm always very generous with that. And I'm popping it onto the back of my image panel for the front of the card. That's going to go right on top of my piece of old olive cardstock. And I'm just going to even it up. I turned it over to press it down, so if there's anything on my desk, since I don't use a pad, which I really should, that's not very smart of me, then any kind of stray ink will go off on that early espresso cardstock, and it won't smear up my very vanilla. So on the very back of the fun foam, I use tear and tape, and I'm not a big fan of that tape. The sticky part doesn't cross the lining paper all the way. And so I decided to go ahead and use it to adhere my fun foam from here on out, rather than my other Be Creative tape or whatnot. So that's what I'm going to be using that for. So now I have some old olive, I have some seam binding, that is crumb cake, that's retired. And then I pulled out some Victorian lace, and I'm going to have that split up my image and my sentiment. This is a very, very basic card layout. I wanted to separate my sentiment and my image. And I'm adding more tape to hold down that ribbon I'm going to lay over. I did not bother straightening this out, ironing out, anything like that, because I'm going to be tying a cheater's knot into it over on the left-hand side that you saw at the beginning of the card or the video. I don't mind that I'm covering up a very small portion at the bottom of the image because it is large enough and substantial enough to hold its own. So here I'm just lining everything up and making sure that it looks good, and it does. And I'm going to put down yet some more adhesive just to keep that down. The tear and tape is good adhesive. It's very strong. Everybody just has their preferences, and we know what mine is, but if you have something on hand, use it up. So that is about a good 98% of the front of our card, and all I have to do now is cut a piece of the crumb cake the crumb cake seam binding and another piece of the very vanilla Victorian lace. and I wasn't paying attention while I was doing the voiceover, obviously, because I'm looking at my card. I just threw some snail in the back of my inside panel, adhering it, we're done. That's all I'm going to do with the inside. Now is where I grab my ribbon, and I am going to slip it underneath. And you can see where I have the crumb cake on top and the lace underneath it, because when I tie that cheater's knot, I want you to be able to see the lace more so than the seam binding. So you're going to see me mess around with that a little bit to get a nice knot, one that doesn't look crunchy. That is so 80s. That just came out of my mouth. I don't know where that came from. Oh my gosh, I haven't said that word forever, like since college. So I'm playing and playing and playing. I like how it looks. I'm going to grab a glue dot, slip it underneath there real quick. I like my stuff to stay together. There we go. And then I'm just going to simply trim the ends of that ribbon. I'm not going to do any fancy cuts or anything like that at all. I just want a very nice, clean, classy card. This can be masculine or feminine. If you want to make it more masculine, I would dump the lace and go ahead and use our linen thread. Probably tie a different kind of bow and add some type of metal embellishment there. And we're in the home stretch. I'm going to peel off the backing of the tear and tape. I'm going to center that up on the early espresso cardstock. And then get that adhered down, or try to anyway. I'm not worried about that underneath. Nobody is going to see it. I did not want to put any sequins, anything, nothing additional to this card. I think it's beautiful just the way that it looks. We have a great sentiment. We have good colors. What's unusual about this card is I have two neutrals and then only actually one color of Old Olive. And there we go. I love the way that it turned out. I'd like to thank you for stopping by to visit me today for my Clean and Simple Tuesday series. I have a supply list for you underneath this video. Check out my blog post that is also in the description with a full description list. Please hit like and subscribe. And thank you so much for stopping by to visit me today. God bless, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.